Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it.
The JAMODI podcast is powered by Sideline Interactive. Sideline Interactive is the leading manufacturer for high-quality, innovative scoring tables and LED video display boards that help coaches and schools bring more excitement to fans, create huge fundraising opportunities, and make their jobs easier. Visit sidelineinteractive.com to check out their amazing products.
So we spent about 30 minutes just talking about how you got to Mary Hardin-Baylor, but now the fun thing for both of us, but I really want to learn from you, is you're getting to walk in a new place with the 14 or 13 coaches, 14 head coaches that you've been around over the years, and you're getting to take parts of them, but also setting up your culture and how that's going to be. So what are those standards pillars going to be going into this job for you?
Yeah, for me, and kind of the meetings I've already had with recruits we've had on campus, my three core values, what I want to be the pillars in my program. I want to have guys that are selfless, dependable, and tough. And in my mind, that goes beyond the basketball court. If you were to say, hey, what does a strong Christian man look like? I would say it's someone who's selfless, dependable, and tough. If you're saying, who do I want within my basketball program? I want guys that are selfless, dependable, and tough. And in my mind, selfless has to be number one, and that's got to be kind of the hierarchy of the three. The coaches that I've been with and coached under and with, they've all kind of had a servant leadership mentality. And I think Coach Drew, as kind of the godfather of that selfless leadership, and a servant leadership, I think. And it goes beyond like making the extra pass, or we want to have 20 to 25 assists per game. Like it's not that kind of selflessness, although that is important. It's more about, hey, I want to have guys that are growing in their humility, and they don't think of themselves less. They think of, or how is it? They don't think of themselves less. They
Less
think
of
less of
themselves.
themselves.
Yeah.
And really the whole idea of sacrificing for each other. I know that's kind of a word that gets thrown around a lot, but in my mind, if I could describe one characteristic of a player that I want within a team of mine, I want them to be dependable. Like I want to know, what am I getting from you every single day? What's hardest, I think, as coaches is when we get a player that gives you max effort one day, and then the next day you got to really kick them in the butt to get them going, and then the next day they giving you max effort, and it's like, who are you? Like, how dependable? What am I going to get from you? And that's why you look back at some of your players that are or some of your All-Americans and the guys that have a long future in this, and you're like, well, I knew exactly what I was getting from them every single day, no matter if you're playing a low major team for a non-division one team, and you're playing Sisters of the Poor, or you're playing in an Elite Eight game in Houston in front of 40,000 people. Like, you knew what you're getting from them every time they set foot on the court. And to me, another part of dependability is being composed. Like, I think having guys that they don't ride the high of a big game, and or they don't shy away from the moment, or there's some hecklers behind the bench and it rattles them, and now they're not composed in big games. So dependability is about what you can give night in and night out, practice in, practice out, but it's also, how are you composed? How consistent are you during the games, during the practices, during the times when no one's watching? And then the toughness aspect, everybody knows physically tough, but the mental side of it, how resilient are you in adversity? What does your body language say when things aren't going your way? Does everybody in the world know, man, you're really struggling right now? Things aren't going, you're getting a bad whistle because of the body language you're showing? Or are you able to show some grit, show some resilience, and really move on to the next right thing, regardless of the circumstances. So those are kind of the three core values that I've been really verbal about for the guys that we're bringing into the program and the guys that we're retaining in the program, and also the staff that we're bringing in and retaining too, because it can't be my vision and that's it. It's got to really be bought in by everybody. So selfless, dependable, tough, those are kind of the three areas. And like I said, it goes way beyond the basketball court. I think if you can master those attributes, it'll take you far in life, not just in a career path, but as a husband, as a father. You want your dad to be dependable. You want your spouse to be selfless and to be able to respond the right way, and be resilient. So I do think it goes beyond just the game of basketball.
Of those 3. And I appreciate that you brought up Coach Drew, especially with the selfless piece, because I remember that first year with him thinking because he was so different than Coach Bliss, that it wasn't real.
Mhm.
That this guy, this is an act, and maybe that was a little bit of mentally where I was at that point, not trusting coaches like I used to, but I thought there's no way that he can sustain this, or there's no way that he really cares about us like he's saying he does, and this is just a stepping stone to him getting like, he got his foot in the door at a college, Big 12 job, and then he's going to jump off to somewhere else. You were able to be around him way longer than me. And so just speak to like how consistent he was with not just his energy and all of that, but that selflessness, man, your time with him.
Yeah. So I've actually said it quite a bit the last month or so. You don't really have a true appreciation for things in life until there's the absence of them.
Yeah.
And I say that because I was with Coach Drew for 13 years, and there were plenty of days that I would kind of roll my eyes at the positivity, at the energizing level, like, okay,
We need to drop the hammer now.
yeah. And I think I appreciate it more now after not being around him
Yeah.
for the last 8 years, and I think I have a greater appreciation for, hey, we have to celebrate wins. We have to have a locker room that is energetic. We have to create an atmosphere of positivity because at different points in these last 8 years, I've experienced locker rooms that were not positive, and winning was expected and not applauded and not celebrated, and winning is difficult. And so that's why like I have a greater appreciation for the selflessness that Coach Drew has, a positive energy he brings, and just the abundance of just overall energy that he provides that maybe in my younger days I would have rolled my eyes at and been like, this guy, that like you said, he can't sustain this.
But
But
man,
then you
it seems
realize,
like he has.
yeah, and then you realize it's a huge part of the reason his programs have just been consistently great
Yeah.
is because he brings that energy, and you can win a variety of different ways. You can win by tearing guys down and trying to build them up. You can win by being ultra positive with them and filling them with great confidence and hope, that they didn't know they had. There's not one way to win, but the way that I've been around the most is his way, and that's where I do have a greater appreciation for it now than I did in my early days of then. But just like anything, I think you can appreciate things more when you've experienced the absence of it, and that's why it's a big deal for me is, hey, I want this atmosphere that we create to be one. I want a family atmosphere, I want a positive atmosphere, I want an energetic atmosphere. Uh, because like, it doesn't matter the level, high school, middle school, Division 1, Division 3, you're around these guys so much that the seasons are long, and if it's a drain, a drag to when you're around the guys because there's no life in the building, there's no positivity, it's just dull. Like that really can affect the locker room and it can affect the scoreboard. So I do think that Coach Drew is one of those that really embodies having a selfless, positive, energetic mentality. I can't get to his level with the energy, and there are a
Well,
few that
but
can.
that's a good point. That's a good point. Like, you gotta be yourself,
Yeah.
right? And so we take and we draw parts. Like, I'm a little bit of Coach Thomas from the Colony High School. There are some Coach Bliss in me, and I've tried to take the best parts of him was how he would analyze the game and how prepared he was. There was never a day where we didn't have a plan and we didn't execute that plan. And then there's a huge part of me now, and you nailed it. I did not appreciate it at the time. I didn't think this was what serious programs did because I was a part of the group that we were terrified of what we were going to get the next day from Coach Bliss. And he did show some fierceness that got us going, but it was way more of like transactional, do this or else, do this. Here comes Coach Drew, which is it's about joy. And we got music on and we got all this stuff. I'm like, are we serious or not? Like Kansas isn't doing this.
Yeah.
And I wish, and I've told Coach Drew this, I wish I had been better for him and for the staff and for my teammates that year, but there's just so much going on. But looking back now, I'm way more like him than any of the other influences that I've had, along with some PGC stuff over the years. That's been a big influence. But as far as a culture standpoint, and it really came together this year, this past year, we played district opponent at our place and we beat them by 30, just smacked them, went to their place and we couldn't separate from them. And it just objectively, our overall effort wasn't what it needed to be. Our toughness wasn't what it needed to be, but they were playing really well too. Like, and one of my buddies, Matt Garnett, anytime the other team plays well and people are surprised by it, he always says, they practice too. Like, we got to remember that. Like, they're preparing to play us as well. And so it was just one of those games where, man, we won by 2. And you think in your head, you're like, 30-point win, 2-point win on the road, something's wrong. And I felt a little frustration for overall how we went, but those are those moments where you've got to decide, like, who are you? And you got to be consistent with that. So I try to view winning and losing almost the same way right after. I don't get too high with a win and don't get too low with a loss. And like Coach Drew said, we're not going to be resulting right after. We're going to get them out of there. Tyler Clausen said they don't want to listen to us anyway. They want to go see their families, eat pizza, like get them out, but don't say anything you're going to regret. And then, like, what do I really want? Game's done. I want them to be excited to come back tomorrow morning to fix things that we can do better, but we're going to come back and have a lot of fun and we're going to train. But to do that, like my bliss in me after that win would be get over it, get over here. That was crap.
Yeah.
You guys know it. That's not good enough. Get ready for practice tomorrow because we're going to write this thing. Like that's my feeling. But what's best or what do I really want is, hey guys, come here. Listen, man, on the road, it's hard to come up with wins. And you did that. Could we be better? Absolutely. But here's what I love watching you play. Can't wait to practice tomorrow. Here are the times. Let me pray for us. I love you. We're out. I had an assistant coach in that circle that got frustrated with me.
Mhm.
And I'm thankful for the relationship that we had to where he could tell me that. And we had a 3-hour talk, I think either that night or the next night about what he would do differently. And I told him, I get it. Like there's a part of me that wanted to do that too, but what moves the needle the most is them wanting to come back and work hard for us the next day. What does that? Them knowing that we're proud of them and we believe in them. But man, like coach, that decision, that's hard. And coach, I saw Coach Drew do that for my year, and I assume for a lot of years after.
Yeah. I think those 3 to 5 minutes after a win or after a loss can really impact the trajectory of the season. And I've seen it done the right way. I've seen it done, in my mind, the wrong way. Not to say that coaches aren't making mistakes and wish they could go back in time and say different things as well. But I just am a big believer. And Coach Mills was this way. He was like, look, we need to talk as a staff after the game, and we got to watch film because we're going to end up saying something we regret. And how many times have we thought something, and had we said it, when we watch film later that night, we are the ones that are in the wrong. And so it's like, let's circle the wagons, and after a win, after a loss, home or away, I agree with kind of having the let's keep it simple, let's keep it short, let's keep it positive, especially after a win. And I've seen it just as recently as this last year. We at ORU we struggled in the wins loss column, but we had an incredible home win in conference against a top 2 team in our league where we led from the jump, and it was a complete game. And I'm hoping to walk into a locker room with some water bottles flinging and the music bouncing. And I knew, like, as soon as I walked in and it was dead and guys were just kind of, sitting there, I'm like, what in the world? And then the message that gets said is, we're better than this. Imagine how good we could be. And I'm like kicking myself because I'm thinking, these guys, you can feed off of positive energy. And Coach Mills says it all the time. Winning is not easy. And so any chance you win, you got to celebrate success. And so that I think is a crucial time that coaches can really impact their team for better.
Looking for a book, and I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to you
No.
while you were talking. There's a book that Phil Beckner gave me, but he gives a lot of people, but the quote in it, like, I think, what do I want to be as a coach? Like, or see my players view me as someone that is easy to please, but hard to satisfy. Like,
Mm.
that's it. Like, yeah, that's awesome what you just did. Now, this is the next level. But I think it's really easy to be the hard to please.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what I do, it doesn't seem to be enough for this
Yeah.
guy. I don't wanna be that person, and I think after a win on the road by 2, when we weren't at our very, very best, like, that's a time for me maybe to deposit into their, because they
Yeah.
know that we had won by 30 2 weeks ago, and now by 2, and if anything, that game in their mind and in my mind, that's going the whole game of, "Why aren't we up more? We just
Yeah.
were. What's wrong today? What's wrong with us? What's wrong with me?" Like, you're fighting that game because of what you think. That's why PGC says, "Drop your comparisons and drop your expectations." I think you gotta do that in every game, or else win or lose, you start to put added pressure. But after that, that game where we win, like, if I was to say that's not enough, well, then what is enough? Like, what
Yeah.
we won. We did it. But the same way that we could play really great and lose, I still need to be easy to please in that, but that's all. I mean, yeah, like, it wasn't outward defiance with effort. They're not walking around. There seemed to be a little bit of fire that wasn't there. Maybe because they're teenagers. Maybe because we're human beings and we're not gonna be able to bring it the same way every night. You're gonna have one of those stinker games, but man, you better win those.
Yeah.
Like, you better win those ones that are close like that. And but I think but I understood, like, there's a part of what he was saying to me that I'm thinking, "Yeah, like, what a missed opportunity to hammer him," like, because that would have been it. But again, it's like what Shawnee Harley talked about, what does losing mean? It has to mean the kinda same thing as a missed shot. Like, if it's the right shot, if we're doing what we're trying to, then it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't mean anything, then I gotta approach it the same way, and but that's hard, man, because. You just get so caught up in with emotions. And that's where I think Coach Drew is right on the money, and Coach Mills. I don't know what I saw. What I think I saw wasn't good, but I'm gonna watch. Like, we gotta know for sure and then have a great plan for them, because that's what I think players want. They want to know that we're not just mad at them because of how this game went, that we're gonna have a plan for us all to get better and to move forward.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.